I do independent news and commentary. I cover news from all over the world and current events, and over the past year of running the YouTube channel, I have seen the effects of mass migration has had on countries and culture. Let's get one thing straight. Majority of the migrants are not refugees, but people fleeing because of economic reasons. In fact, Hungary Prime Minister says the overwhelming majority of migrants in Europe are not refugees, but are merely seeking a better life. Robert Fico, a Slovak counterpart, says that up to 95% are economic refugees. In fact, in Europe, over 800,000 migrants have travelled to Europe by sea in 2015. According to the United Nations Refugee Agency, a little over half came from Syria. And according to the UNHCR, the breakdown of refugees are 13% women, 12% children, 75% are men between the ages of 19 and 45. They are not mass migrating because they're fleeing a war zone. They are mass migrating because A, they're being paid by NGOs, and B, because they are seeking a more economically better, sounder future. Even the New York Times has reported in October the mass exodus of men to parts of Europe could cause problems in both the countries they leave and the countries they enter. In fact, the mass migration has also had huge effects on local culture and residents. In the past 2 years, from 2016 to 2017, keep in mind 2017 hasn't finished yet, there have been 422 deaths as a result of Islamic terror attacks in Europe. Since then, they've also had 1,599 people injured. In fact, there have been 2,021 people injured or killed in less than 2 years due to Islamic terror attacks. In fact, even MI5 has been forced to admit they are monitoring over 3,000 jihadi Johns on a watch list that they currently have. Now, these are potential terror threats that they know about. We don't know how many people they don't know about, obviously, but that's 3,000 people that they are currently monitoring because they pose a serious terror threat. Now, this also doesn't take into account the other issues that mass migration has caused in the UK. For example, grooming gangs or sexual assaults that have been caused to skyrocket. In fact, even over in countries like Sweden, where mass migration has been commonplace, there are now 55 what they call no-go zones. Now, I know the term no-go zone is a little bit controversial. What a no-go zone is, and I am quoting from the President of Sweden's ambulance union, it's called an enhanced security for his personnel when they're working in so-called no-go zones, saying first responders need, quote, special military-grade equipment to withstand the dangers of mainly migrated popular areas. And in April, the government-owned postal service, PostNord, has halted mail delivery to some addresses near the troubled Stockholm suburb of Rinkeby, where large-scale riots took place earlier this year. And in fact, Swedish police admit to losing control of 55 no-go zones. Police in Sweden continue to lose control of more suburbs in major Swedish cities, as they are now admitted to there are more than 55 no-go zones where they have major problems enforcing law. According to a new report, crime rates are rising sharply in the no-go zones area, with police unable to react to crimes. In fact, crime is so high in Sweden at the moment, there is a 138% increase in sexual crimes in Sweden just in the past 2 years. In fact, the Swedish opposition party, the moderates, now want to record the ethnicity of rapists, but the Socialist Government Party is against this. Makes you wonder why they don't want to record the ethnicity of sexual assaults. Of course, this is on the back that 1 in 4 Swedish women will be raped as sexual assaults increase 500%. And in fact, it's so bad over there at the moment that 46% of women over the age of 16 are afraid to go out after dark for fears they may be raped by Muslim rape gangs. Now, of course, by speaking out on this over in Europe can get you arrested, where we actually just recently had a 90-year-old woman arrested because she denied the Holocaust, and we have people over in Sweden and over in Europe who are getting arrested just by simply raising awareness about these topics. Of course, Germany's not any better, where they've just recently gone up and rounded up, quote, alt-right figures, which basically means anybody that questions Merkel's decisions, and where EU is basically going through and forcing countries to accept these refugees. Now, if you want proof of this, you just simply have to look at Czech Republic and Hungary. They were forced by the EU to take these refugees, otherwise face sanctions and or fines. They've tried the same with Poland as well, but Poland has managed to hold out by simply asking for reparations for World War II as a part of a tactic or ploy. The EU has even threatened Australia in refusing refugees, claiming that Australia has 12 months to comply or else. Now, of course, this is all on top of Angela Merkel / the EU threatening social media platforms, threatening to fine them if they do not remove topics that are controversial within a period of time. Because nothing says free speech like, hey, we're going to lock you up or jail you, or fine a social media platform for not removing topics that are against our general progressive agenda. Now, I just want to confirm, I'm not against migration. People who come to a country where you get a net gain to a country or a society is completely acceptable. However, if we look at Europe and how mass migration over there has affected economic refugees or has impacted countries, I do not see that as a net gain. In fact, there's actually a really good YouTube video I'll play in a sec that actually talks about mass migration and how it actually might be affecting the countries that you're migrating from. For example, if you have 18 to 35-year-olds leaving Syria to travel to Europe, then there's no young people left in Syria to go through and to build the cities, for example. Or for example, if you take all the smart people out of Syria, you take the educated people out of there, then the people left behind don't necessarily have the knowledge or the intelligence to go through and build new roads, build new buildings, or even progress the society.
Some people say that mass immigration into the United States can help reduce world poverty. Is that true? Well, no, it's not. And let me show you why. This gumball represents the 1 million legal immigrants that the United States has taken every year on average since 1990. Now, who in the world deserves our humanitarian compassion? How many people in the world live in countries that have average incomes lower than that of Mexico? And the World Bank tells us that that number is these 3 billion plus another 2.6 billion people. 5.6 billion people in the world who live in countries with average incomes below that of Mexico. That's 5,600 gumballs. And so what is it that the elites are telling us? They're telling us that when we take this 1 million immigrants, that we somehow or another are tackling world poverty. And we have to do it regardless of the effect on our unemployed, the working poor, the most vulnerable members of our society, regardless of the effect on our natural resources. Even if we went by the most radical proposals in Washington, which are to actually double our immigration to 2 million a year, which would totally overwhelm our physical, natural, and social infrastructures, we couldn't make a noticeable difference. And we may be really hurting the impoverished people of the world, because the million that we do take are among the most energetic, often the better educated, certainly the most dissatisfied people that if they did not immigrate would be the agents for change to improve the lot of all the people in these countries. The true heroes in the global humanitarian field are the people in these countries who have the wherewithal to immigrate to another country, but instead stay in their countries to apply their skills to help their fellow countrymen.
Now, I will put a link to that video in the description below, so please feel free and go and check that out. It's really worthwhile the watch. But guys, that's basically where I want to leave this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you like mass migration? Do you see a problem with it? Let me know what your thoughts are and we'll have a discussion about it. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. And apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.